Hi, my name is Eric Burton. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my project number 3 I built for the Rust module. I decided to create a command line password manager, mostly to get some hands-on practice with Rust data structures, file input output, and hashing, and just kind of feel out how Rust handles application logic compared to something like Python or C#. Spoiler, I really like it, but it definitely gave me a few headaches along the way. Anyway, let me show you what I built. So when I run the app with cargo run, it launches the password manager. If I've saved entries previously, it'll load them from the JSON file and display them at startup, and you can see that a couple are already saved, slimtech.com and sauce demo. I can choose from several options: add password, retrieve password, list entries, delete entries, or exit the app. Let's go ahead and add one. I'll enter a site like gmail.com, a username, and a password. I'm just going to use test and test. And you can see that it was successfully saved and the password was saved. When I hit enter, it hashes the password using SHA-256 and saves everything to a JSON file called password.json. And you can see that it added it here. That hash is what's stored, no raw passwords. Then if I go to retrieve the password, I can look it up by the site and it'll print the username and the hashed password. Let's give that a try. Let's enter number 2, retrieve password, www.gmail.com, hit enter, and enter my username test. And then if I look it up, it's going to show me the hashed password. Quick note, the data is stored using Rust's built-in HashMap, and I'm serializing everything with serialization. I'll show you how I handle that in the next code. So let's look at the main RS file. So the entry point is super simple. It just calls menu start. The core logic is inside the menu RS file. Now let's take a look at the modules file. This is my password entry structure. It holds the site username and the password hash. It's derived from serialized and deserialized, so it can be saved and loaded inside the JSON file. It's pretty straightforward. The storage RS file. This file handles the reading and writing to passwords JSON. One challenge here was making sure the file was safely created. We'll go way up here. I was in the wrong spot. It was safely created if it didn't exist, and also dealing with empty or corrupted JSON gracefully. That part took a while to get right. I used open options for read-write access and create access, and added error handling for each step: loading, parsing, and writing. I also included some nice error and success messages for debugging. We can see those here. Here's our open options function and our error and success messages. Now the menu RS, here's where most of the action happens. Let's take a look at it. So the start function loads saved entries and displays the menu. Input is handled by the prompt function. When I add a password, it hashes the raw input with SHA-256, and then it stores everything in the hash map and writes it to the disk using the save password function. One of the bigger challenges here was remembering to save the updated password map back to disk anytime I added or deleted an entry. Early on, I kept forgetting to call save password function after the changes. So it looked like everything worked, but nothing was actually saved. It's kind of frustrating. But once I realized that, I moved the save logic into every relevant function. Now it persists properly between runs. Let's kind of check this out. If I do 3, it'll list the entries. I can delete an entry, or let's retrieve a password. We did that. Let's delete an entry. Let's do number 4. We're going to delete www.gmail.com. And if we list our entries, we'll see that it's deleted. And if we go to our passwords JSON file, we'll see that it's deleted from there. So overall, this project was great intro into Rust for me. I got to use variables, conditionals, loops, functions with ownership, and a custom structure with impl, which checks all the boxes for the module. I also use a HashMap for storage, which was a good way to practice working with collections in Rust. The biggest takeaways for me, I really like Rust strict compiler. It forced me to slow down and think about memory, lifetimes, and types. The error messages were surprisingly helpful, though sometimes they were a bit wordy, and the community docs, especially the Rust books, were really helpful. I also leaned a little bit on ChatGPT when I got stuck, but always double check them for accuracy. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you're thinking about learning Rust, definitely give it a try. It has a learning curve, but it's worth it. Thanks.